Now lettuce are a staple of the vegetable garden and they're so easy to grow, and there are so many different varieties available, and it's very easy with just a little bit of know-how to be able to provide a consistent supply of lettuce all the way through the summer and autumn and even into winter, because there are winter varieties as well. So in this video I'm going to show you how to grow lettuce right from sowing seeds right up to the point in where you transplant them and harvest them. Now there's a huge range of varieties of lettuce to grow, a huge selection. It depends on what type of lettuce you like. I tend to grow a variety of the crispy round head lettuce such as iceberg, but I also grow other varieties of lettuce as well, loose leaf lettuce. I like a variety called Lakeland, which I'm going to sow today. And there are other varieties of lettuce that you can cut and they'll continue to regrow, so you get this constant supply all through the summer, autumn and winter period. So really it's down to your own personal preference of what type of lettuce you like. But the good news is that they're easy to grow, and I tend to grow a combination of different varieties. Now the first thing we're going to do is fill up our cell trays with compost. Now with lettuce, if you want a continuous supply, it pays to sow a few seeds regularly rather than try and sow a whole load in one go. So I use these 4 cell seed trays here, and I'm going to sow 4 varieties of lettuce, 1 variety in each of the cells. And all I will do is simply fill it up with multi-purpose compost. And multi-purpose compost is fine for lettuce seeds. Just fill it to the top, give it a bit of a tap, and then just firm it down so that the compost is just below the top of the cell trays. Then a really important thing I do before I sow the seeds is to wet the compost. So what I do is I get my watering bottle and just give the compost a good soak, and I'll let that soak in. Then what we'll do is we'll take our lettuce seeds. So this is a variety called Little Gem, which is a really popular variety of lettuce. And what we'll do is put a sprinkle of the seeds into our hand. Now remember, you don't want too many. So that's quite a few there for the single cell that I'm going to put these into. So we'll see if there's any spares afterwards. So all I will do then is get the lettuce between my 2 fingers and gently just sprinkle them on, just to try and separate them just a little bit. And that'll be enough. And as you can see there, I have a few spares which are going to go back into the packet. A little tip: if you are going to put seeds back in a packet, put it over where you've just sown them, so if any do drop out, they'll drop into the cell tray. So what we'll do now is do exactly the same for all the other 3 cells with different varieties. And the other varieties I'm going to sow are one called All the Year Round, Lakeland and Lola Rossa. Now when you get lettuce seeds, normally the packet will contain a huge amount of seeds, sometimes between 1200 to 2000, so there's so many seeds in there. So as you can see, just sow a few. So I'll sow those 3 other varieties in exactly the way that we've just sown this first one, and then we'll come back and go to the next stage. Now here you can see I've labelled all of the cells and all the seeds are now in there, and some of the seeds are lighter than others, but you can see how they're sprinkled and tried to be separated as much as possible. And that's really the amount of seeds you want to be sowing if you want a regular supply. Now remember, there's 4 varieties in there. So what we do next now is just put a light covering of compost on top and just compact it down slightly, and then we'll give it a water. So just take a very small handful of compost and gently sift it over the top where you put the seeds. We're not trying to give it a large covering, and all we do then with our fingers is gently compact it down. Remember, this is just normal multi-purpose compost. There we go, and that's all ready. And again, just one final water on top. Remember, we've already saturated the compost underneath, so it doesn't need to be a huge amount. And there we have 4 varieties all sown and ready. Now 2.5, 3 weeks later, this is what you'll get. You can see these have all germinated exactly the same as what we've just seen sown. I've got 4 varieties, exactly the same varieties in this cell tray, and these have germinated without any heat. Lettuce is a really tolerant vegetable and is very easy to grow, so you could easily germinate those without any heat or any propagation, and after 2 to 3 weeks, that's what you should be looking at. So now those are ready for transplanting or pricking out, and that's what we're going to do next. So that process is where we will now lift them out of these individual cell trays and separate them out into individual cells. Now when we come to pricking out or separating the plants, we just need to be careful and just follow a few very simple rules. So the first thing I will do is separate all the plants, and I'll do one variety or one cell at a time. We'll start off with this one, which is the little gem lettuce. We'll put our label to one side because we're going to reuse that. And all we'll do is lift up the seedlings very gently, and I use a flathead screwdriver. Some people I've seen using chopsticks and other implements. It doesn't really matter as long as it's something that is not going to damage the plants. And all I'll do is just put the screwdriver gently right down till it's touching the bottom of the cell, and then just gently lift just to agitate it, to loosen the compost. And then I should be able to lift a few of them out. And there we go. So now we've got a clump of plants. Now this compost is a little bit moist. Generally, before I do this type of thing, I always leave the compost so I don't water for a few days, because when it's wet, it makes it a little bit harder to separate them because the compost is a little bit sticky, but these will be fine. So there's one that's just separated all on its own. You can see there, that's got a nice bit of compost to it and a nice root system as well. So we're going to put that just in our little tray here. And the secret to separating these is to not touch the stem or the roots. Always be really gentle with them. So if I wanted to separate these two, just hold one of the leaves on each plant just gently, and then just gently ease them apart, and you can see how they come apart nice and easily. And we'll put them in our tray, and we'll do that now with the rest of them. Here we have a clump of plants here. We've got one on its own there, so we'll just gently lift it with the leaf and put that in our tray. Here we've got another one that has two plants. So again, I'm very gently just touching the leaves and just easing them apart. So there you can see that cell is now empty, and this is what I've got. These are the seedlings now ready to plant in. Always amazes me in such a small little area how many seedlings you can get. So I'll be looking to fill a cell tray of 24 with those, which I should easily get. And clearly I've also got these to transplant in the same way. I think that gives you appreciation for how quickly lettuce grow and how many you can get. So you need to grow as many as suits your own needs. So next we need to fill up our cell tray. As you can see, I'm using a 24 cell plastic cell tray here. These are the quite flexible ones, but what I'll do is once this is full, I'll put it inside this other plastic tray to make it much more rigid. So we'll fill the cells up again. I'm just using normal multi-purpose compost. If you feel that the compost isn't very good, you might need to sieve it first, but this compost is fine. For those of you in the UK, this was purchased from B&Q, which is a normal standard DIY store. If you're watching in the United States, something similar to Home Depot or something along those lines. That's it. So now we have the cell tray completely full of compost. So what I'll do now is I'll get my seedlings, just put them so that I can access them, and the job is quite simple. But I'll put a hole right in the middle with my forefinger, and then I'll pick one of the seedlings up by its leaf and pop it into the hole without touching the roots or the stem. And then what I will do is gently add tiny bits of compost around the edge and push it down with my finger. So at no time am I touching the stem or the roots of this plant. Do another one, same thing, put a hole in the middle with your finger right down to the bottom, pick up your seedling, pop it in, and again just gently filling with compost around the edge but not touching the leaf in any way. So let's do one more then. Make a hole right into the middle with your finger, pick up the seedling by its leaf, pop it into the middle, and then gently compact your compost around the edge, making sure at no time are you touching the stem or its roots. And we'll do that now for all of this cell tray, and we'll come back after that's complete. So we've just got the last two to do now. And as you can see, most of the tray is planted in exactly the same way that we've just shown. Always amazes me of the amount of lettuce that are germinated from such a small little corner of a cell tray. As you can see here, I have 24 now complete lettuce. Just shake off any excess compost, and what I'm going to do now is put that inside my rigid tray, which I will do now. And there you have it. What we need to always remember to pop a label on. So we'll put the label in. These are little gems. Give it a water. I always tend to use this for watering seedlings, which is a converted milk carton with holes drilled in the top. Very simple to make, because if you was to use a watering can, you could potentially flood the cells. I find this works much better. Here's the watering container. As you can see, it's very simple. All it is just a discarded milk container with holes drilled into the top. And that's it, one complete tray of little gem lettuce that will now probably take about 2 to 3 weeks to reach a point where I can plant it out. I'm going to do exactly the same now for the 3 other varieties of lettuce that we looked at earlier. Now what I'll be doing today, I'll be planting these 2 trays here of lettuce that were originally sown only on the 6th of February. We're now into the 2nd of April, so these are only about 4 or 5 weeks. And you can see how well and healthy they've grown. These will be transplanted now into the raised bed just at the back of me here. And for succession planting, what you need to try and remember to do is sow regularly, because once these are planted, they'll grow quite quickly. And what you want to try and avoid doing is growing so many that you can't use them, and then you have a gap where you haven't got enough. So what I try and remember to do is sow every 3 to 4 weeks, so I have a continuous supply of summer vegetables all the way through from now April right through till October and beyond, because there are winter varieties of these that I will grow as well. This is a variety that you'll be familiar with. It's Little Gem. There's 24 lettuce in there, and this is a variety that I've mentioned on previous videos that people should try if you've never before, and that is Lakeland. And again, there's another 20, probably about 22 in there. There's two that haven't really grown very well, but those are really crunchy lettuce and they're absolutely wonderful. Now those 2 trays here were sown on the 2nd of February. And here we have more lettuce which was sown after these. So once these are finished in the big trays, these are coming behind them. And I've got 4 varieties of lettuce here. I've got Lakeland and Little Gem in 2 of these cells. And I've got All Year Round in here and Lola Rossa, which is here. And that gives me a really good range of different lettuces all through the year. Now these are raised beds inside my polyhouse. So with these, because they're inside, they're in an inside environment, I need to make sure they're continually watered. They're a little bit dry at the moment actually, but I have been watering them over the last couple of days. So underneath it is pretty moist. So I'm going to put these lettuce in now into this bed here. I'm going to put the Lakeland here. There are a few spare spring onions that I put in about a week ago just along the side here. So I'm going to put the lettuce next to them. So I've grown these lettuce in these plastic cell trays here. So they're very easy to transplant. All you need to do to loosen the plant is just to squeeze top and bottom, and then you can put your finger right in the bottom and pull the whole thing out, and it'll come out with a good clump of compost. And then all we'll do is get our dibber, make quite a large hole, but not too deep, and then just put our lettuce in, and then just agitate the compost around it, and I'll just firm it in like that, and that's it. And we'll do that now for all of this tray of lettuce, and always put our label so that we know what variety of lettuce they are. I'm going to space these around about 12 inches apart, so I'll get quite a few lettuce in here, hopefully get all of this tray in here, and the Little Gem will go right into the next bed. And when they're in, we'll give them a good watering. So as you can see, lettuce is one of those fast growing, easy to grow vegetables that you can grow all year round. So what's not to like? So if you're growing lettuce, it'd be really great to know what your favourite variety is and what lettuce you're growing at the moment. So if you can pop a comment below and let me know, that'll be absolutely fantastic. And if you want to grow lettuce for the first time, whether that's in spring, summer, autumn or winter, I'm sure there's a variety out there that you will like. So I do hope the video has given you 1 or 2 tips, and if you do like the video, don't forget to give it the thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to the channel for future videos on how to sow and grow fruit and veg and 1 or 2 recipe ideas, don't forget to press the subscribe button. And I'll see you all on the next video.